ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमः ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासति गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much for being here. And we have been going through this journey of reading through the book, Nectarean Ocean of the Holy Name. So, it's really a good idea, right? To pause a little bit, process everything that we have learned so far, review all of that, and then we can move on to the next book. So, with that in mind, taken down some notes, but again, this is all not very brand new information to any of us, right? So, I thought it will be more interesting if we all kind of did like a participative discussion, and then we can move on with that. So, with that, the first question is really, right? What is the meaning of the holy name? I mean, we read that every day. So, what somebody would like to say, what is the meaning? There are really three main major words, right? Hare, Krishna, and Rama. So, what do they all mean? If someone wants to just share that. Anybody can go. I mean, if you're raising your hand, I'm not seeing it, but yeah, anyone can go. Please feel free to share. What does Hare mean, Krishna, and then Rama?
Just like our prayers, right? These are the different forms of addressing the name, right? Of holy name. We have that one in the invocation prayers. That's how I see Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu, correct. So Krishna means all attractive. Rama means spiritual enjoyment, right? And then Hare is the vocative of Hara, which is Srimati Radharani. All in all, the prayer is that please engage me in your service. Yeah, thank you so much. Now, Srila Prabhupada, right? What does he say about the holy name? So Srila Prabhupada says that this transcendental vibration of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the sublime method for reviving our transcendental consciousness. Very important, right? Because we all know that we are spiritual. Originally, we are spiritual by nature, but we have forgotten our original consciousness. So, in order to revive that, this transcendental Mahamantra is the key. That's the key how we can revive our consciousness. Then there's a lot of glories given in the glories of the holy name given in this book. Understanding that whenever we are connecting with the holy name, right, it is really spiritual. And what happens is it is really going to liberate us. And it is never conditioned by the law of material nature. The holy name of Krishna is really transcendentally blissful. And what happens is when the pious results are derived from thousands name of Vishnu can be attained by one repetition of the holy name of Krishna. And one name of Krishna is 3 times as powerful the name of Rama, and one name of Rama is equal to 1,000 names of Vishnu. So along with all of this, we understand that how important it is to chant the holy name of Krishna. And then when we think about the effects of the holy name, okay, so this is again given in the initial beginning of those chapters, right? We all read Shikshashtakam in the morning before we start chanting. So in that, really the effects of the holy name is given. Would somebody like to say what is the effect of the holy name? Let's just go round robin and say, Shamahari Prabhu, would you like to say one of the effect?
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare
So, could you repeat the question, Mata? I mean, like, effect of holy name.
Effect of the holy name, yeah, it's Shikshashtakam.
Okay. Chetodarpana
So what?
Marjanam. So it cleans
Yes,
all the
yes.
dust from our
Mhm.
heart. It cleanses the layer, and we can see the exact image. So that means we are realizing our constitutional position by chanting the holy name.
Beautiful, Prabhu. Very beautiful. That's exactly it. Chetodarpana Marjanam is the first itself. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu starts with that. What happens when you chant the holy name? And then next he goes on to Bhavamaha Davagni Nirvapanam. Chanting extinguishes the suffering of tremendous blazing fire, right? Streya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. It is very cooling, like the moon rays. It helps get rid of our past sins. Vidyavadu Jivanam. Bhakti Devi, bride of the Lord, appears, and her two sons, you know who they are? Knowledge and renunciation. When the effect of the holy name, Vidya Vadu Jivanam, that's what it does. It comes, it gives us the knowledge and also renunciation when we really honestly, sincerely chant the holy name. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. It arises auspicious ocean of transcendental life. Pratipadam Purna Amrita Swadanam. It conveys sublime nectar at every step, transcendental touchstone and embodiment of pure rasa. And then Sarvatma Snapanam. It lowers the fever of material enjoyment and assists one to remember Krishna at the time of death. So these are the effects of the holy name. Again, if you all have the PDF, if you go back and see, it's really listed like that and so beautiful. I mean, this is all coming from Shikshashtakam. As I said, we read this every morning, but when we are connecting with each and every phrase, like what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving, we are able to see what it is. So this section really deals with the effects of the holy name. Now moving on to, I know this is a quiz time again. So who remembers what is the Yuga Dharma for Sati Yuga? What was recommended for Sati Yuga? You know, every Yuga has one Yuga Dharma, right? So what's in Sati Yuga? Who remembers what's the main one?
Meditation, Mataji?
Yes, yes. And Treta Yuga?
Deity worship?
Deity worship.
Sacrifice.
That is Dwapar Yuga. Yeah, Treta Yuga is performing sacrifices. Dwapar Yuga is worshipping the deity. You got it. And then what's in Kali Yuga?
Harinam Sankirtan.
Sankirtan.
Yes, Harinam Sankirtan, exactly. So that's again, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very clearly mentioned that in Kali Yuga, the main thing, the Yuga Dharma is Harinam Sankirtan, chanting of the Mahamantra. Then in the book it was given, I don't know if you all remember, but there are 3 ways of chanting. Manasa is chanting in the mind. Pamsa is soft chanting, right? Chanting on the Japamala. And then Vachika is loud chanting, like in the Kirtana. Again, usually when we do chanting, right, we are doing in the Upamsa form, like in the soft chanting form. But of course, when there is Kirtan going on, temple Kirtan, it is loud. And it has its benefits too, right? Because there are so many living beings around us. They may not be able to chant the holy name, but because of our chanting, they are able to hear those, and it adds to their purification and it helps them in their own spiritual journey. So it has the benefit. Now let's going on to the 3 stages of chanting. Do you all remember what are the 3 stages of chanting? Anybody remembers? If not, I can definitely say it. Anyone remembers the 3 stages of chanting? How do we start in the beginning? How are we chanting?
Mataji, I don't remember the beginning, but I think the last stage is Bhaba.
Oh, yes, Mataji. So you're going through the different, like, yeah, but that's
Yeah.
one way to say it. Yes, Shraddha and all of
Yes.
that, right? 9 stages. Yeah, no, but this is like the stages of chanting. Like, basically, it is the Shuddha Nam, which is pure chanting of Hare Krishna, Nama Bhas, which is the clearing stage, and then Nama Aparad. In the beginning, when we all start, at least I'm just speaking about myself, right? I don't have all the knowledge, I don't have the full information. I just know that chanting is very important. So I start chanting. But I may be chanting with offenses, right? A lot of the offenses. So that's the Nama Aparad. But when you start making good intention and you want to start clearing your chanting, you intentionally take on reading these books, setting aside time, and all of that conscious efforts you're doing, then you're entering into the Namabha stage, where it is clearing stage with deliberate attempt to hear the holy names and avoid the offenses. It may not be completely clear yet, but at least we are making an attempt. And then Shuddhanam is pure chanting of the holy name. That's the stage where Krishna fully reveals himself and with his entirety of innumerable potencies. So that's like the highest level. So let's go on to the first stage, right? Nama Aparad, chanting on the offensive stage. So chanting is supposed to get us pure love, and there should be spiritual progress, right? And our material attachments should decrease. So if you're really chanting in the proper way, two things will happen: spiritual progress and decrease of material hankering. But if none of this is happening and we feel that we are still so dry in bhakti, there's nothing happening. So then we have to really start to question, how am I chanting? Am I really paying attention to the holy name properly? Am I giving that importance to chanting? Because chanting is the foundation, it's like a sadhana, right? How many days have you felt that when you do this, you are doing your full 16 rounds in the morning itself, and you're really like, you move on with the day just comes like, really you're able to have such a good fulfilled day. But so many days, if you kind of miss that and you're then kind of struggling throughout the day to keep up your chanting, the rounds and all that, you can already feel that the day kind of drags and the quality is also not that right, how you would like it to be. So very practical experience, I think. Maybe we all can relate to that, like how it is. So again, going back to the important topic is that we need to really reflect and look at how our chanting habits are, how much importance are we giving to chanting. And if we make that like a top priority, all of our other things are just going to fall into place. So then the 10 different kinds of offenses are given in the conversation with Narada Muni. The great sage Sanat Kumara describes those 10 different kinds of offenses, and that is given in Padma Purana, Brahmakanda 25, 15 through 18. So the first offense is Vaishnava Aparad. We know about that. To blaspheme the devotees that have dedicated their lives to propagating the holy names of the Lord. So in the book, it mentions about the 4 kinds of offenses against the devotees that have to be strictly avoided. The first one is that a devotee should not be criticized for his social background. This was emphasized because you know how in the beginning when Srila Prabhupada came to US, there were all kinds of devotees coming from different backgrounds. So when they went back to India, right, a lot of people would criticize, these people don't know, they're coming from Malaysia, they are from the dog-eating family, they are from this and that and all that. So that's why this one's been called out that I think somebody needs to be on mute. Prabhu, can you mute Prabhu, Vamshi Gopal Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you. So a devotee should not be criticized for his social background. Second, a devotee should not be criticized for the past sins or fault which he committed in this lifetime. So many of the Westerners, many of us, even for me also, right? Before I came into Krishna consciousness, my life was so different. But once you come into this knowledge and you have accepted this, and then the life is changing. So then, if we keep criticizing the devotee for the past, how they have lived their life before coming into the Krishna consciousness, that's not fair at all. So that's something we have to be very careful not to criticize for past sins or fault. Then third, a devotee should not be criticized for an unintentional sin, accidental fall down. We all know Maya is so strong. So in the event that sometimes unintentionally a sin may have been committed, and if that happens, a devotee should not be criticized. Fourth, a devotee should not be criticized for the traces of previous sinful habits. For example, when his memory is damaged from having taken undesirable substances or past sensual desires. Again, similar thing, past traces. So we all know, right? This whole bhakti process, the Krishna consciousness process, is just like a purification process. I always feel like, I'm in the shower. I'm in the shower cleaning all my dirt, doing everything like that. So is everybody else. So then how can I point my fingers at someone else? Because I myself am in the shower cleaning my own dirt. You know what I'm saying? So if you really think about that, right? All of these things, everybody is going through their own journey of purification in the Krishna consciousness process. So really, as we are working on ourselves, we have no right to criticize someone else for what they have done or where they have been. Everybody's trying their best they can, and everybody's moving along in this path. So that's the offense. Like, we have to be very careful about that. And then, what is the cause of Vaishnava Aprad, right? That's very important for us to know. This is very important, devotees. So association with opposite sex for sensual pleasure. And it was very nicely pointed out that it is not just outside of marriage, but even within marriage, if it's so much of sensual pleasure, it's not going to help with the bhakti process. So really, we have to be very careful with the interaction with opposite sex as it's focused on the sensual pleasure. So that's like a big one, distraction. And then association with 4 kinds of non-devotees was given, which is Mayavadi, hypocrite, people who just hanker after sense enjoyment, and then the atheist. I mean, these are pretty self-explanatory, right? Now, when we think about that, you'll be like, don't we go to work? Don't we do our dealings with other outside world? Because this is who we interact with, right? Day in and day out at work. So then explanation was given in the book about there are the association, how we give it, right? When we are in the association of people, there are 2 kinds of association. Either you take association or you give association. Taking association means that we get inspired by the non-devotees, and then we take all the qualities that they have, and we start getting inspired and receive from them. But giving association is, we don't get inspired by them, but rather they get inspired by us, and they start taking inspiration from us, and slowly they get attracted to all the things that we have. So that is giving association. And also, important thing is, sometimes at work, we may not be able to talk about anything, right, related to Krishna. So at that time, how we have to do is really be that good role model. So, people are always looking at us, right? They are watching our behavior, watching how we do things and all of that. As long as we have become a good role model in the path of Krishna consciousness, they are just going to get inspired by that. And knowingly, unknowingly, they may ask you, what is your secret? How do you do these things in the face of stress, in the face of challenges? How do you deal with all of this? So as long as we can be that great examples of bhaktas, of Srila Prabhupada's mission, of representative of Krishna, and follow that in our path, so we become that. So as I said, it's not like we don't go to work. We go to work, but it is very careful that we don't take association, but rather we give association to others and be that really good example. So that's how we can be careful. And as I said, again, being careful with the dealings with the opposite sex. Then the 3 types of Vaishnava Aprad, right? How do we do Vaishnava Aprad? We have to be very careful about this, is that offense can be done in the mind, just thinking about something offensive. Offenses can be in the words, or offenses can be through the activities. Now, back in the day, in Sati Yuga and all other yugas, right, even if we caused offense in the mind, it was a big offense. But I think as we have come in Kali Yuga, I think Krishna has given us some concession here. But still, we have to be very careful because, this is very natural, right? Anything that is in the mind, if you think like that, it is not very late that it comes into fruition and it becomes your words, and it also becomes your activities. I can attest to that because many a times when I have those kind of feelings, like if I feel something kind of a negative thought process coming in, it always starts with the mind, and slowly, I can see how it starts polluting my consciousness. And then before I know it, I may already start to have the conversation. And then again, right, then the actions will show up. So as Vaishnavas, as we are chanting the holy name, we have been given these tools how to control our mind, right? So it is so important that when we feel, when we see that there is this negative thought coming in the mind, we have to acknowledge it. Yes, I am feeling the way I'm feeling right now. I have to acknowledge that, but take that, offer it to Krishna, and just say, Krishna, see, this is how I'm feeling right now. And I am accepting of it. It is there right now with me, and I know it's happening, but please help me, right? And then I'm sure Krishna is going to give us different ways how then we can kind of convert this thought process into a positive emotion. And completely, I can attest to it that it has helped me, and also it has happened to me where that same negative thought process, when I offer it up to Krishna, he helps me look it in a different way, and it completely changes the thought process. So then what happens is the thought process just stayed in the mind. It never went into words, it never went into actions, because I was able to rectify that thought process by working through it and also offering it to Krishna and asking for help. So anyway, these were just some of the practical tips. How do we rectify the first offense, Vaishnava Aparad, right? We have to beg for forgiveness. If we have done something wrong to a Vaishnava, go to that Vaishnava and ask for forgiveness. Because sometimes we are all humans, right? So it's like we know this is not the right behavior to do. But sometimes what happens is things, Maya can come, the anger, the emotions, the things can completely take charge on us. And we may say some of the words which we did not mean, or we may have acted quickly to something, responded to an email, or did something which we did not mean to, and later we are repenting for what we did. So we just have to go to that Vaishnava and ask for forgiveness. And the Vaishnavas are so big-hearted, kind-hearted. They will always forgive you for that. Then, if one realizes that he has not appreciated a Vaishnava properly and has offended him for various reasons, it is best not to wait too long, but to approach him immediately and offer obeisances unto him. This is again something very important, right? Acknowledging the Vaishnavas. Sometimes I think we just take every devotee, like, when we become comfortable with the devotees around us, right? We just take devotees for granted. It's like, we know everybody's going to be there. Things are just going to happen. But it is very important that we still take a moment to pause and acknowledge and appreciate. See, for this, I feel, isn't that like whoever works in the corporate world, right? We do so much for this appreciation. MVPs and this and that and so much of it, So I think that's some kind of a culture. I think, we could always bring it in here also and kind of take that moment to really appreciate for everybody that everyone is doing. And in Bhakti process, we know it is simple, but it is not something that, it is definitely hard too, right? We all know. Every day following this whole process, and we all having families, responsibilities, work and everything, but still everybody's taking the time and doing all of the bhakti process, doing so much seva for the congregation and the temple and everything. So it is important we just don't take things for granted, but rather really appreciate and give the support. Whenever someone is trying to do some seva, we have to really try our best that we can support. Sometimes it may be just a matter of acknowledging, what if there's somebody sharing something, it may be just a matter of just acknowledging something. But even that gives support to devotees, so that's really the kind of how we can do it, really devotees supporting each other. And our congregation is very good at that. I will say that, right? Anytime there is any home programs or anything and all of that, right? And events at the temple too, all the devotees come together and help each other. So very fortunate to be here right now. Second offense is to consider the names of demigods like Shiva or Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. So this is the second offense. Again, how many of us before coming into Krishna consciousness had no understanding who Krishna is? I thought amongst all the demigods, everybody, Krishna is one of them. But once I came in here, read Srimad Bhagavatam, understood the full philosophy, now I understand how Krishna is different, right? So it is very important to understand the position of Krishna. Goloka Vrindavan Krishna is the original Vishnu who possesses all the 64 transcendental qualities. All the Purusha avatars have 60 of them, and the Jivas have only 50 qualities. So we have to think about that, right? We sometimes, I'm just saying, like when we do karma kanda rituals, like many of people from India are familiar, right? For each and every desire, you have a demigod that you go worship. I think you all are very familiar with that. But we have to understand that all of these demigods are like the cabinet ministers. They all get their power from the Supreme Lord, who is the president. Similar to even like the bulbs, different bulbs getting energy from the powerhouse, Krishna is that main powerhouse. So we have to understand that Krishna's name is different than other names that we will be chanting. It was also given in this section about Krishna's name, the primary name and the secondary name. So Krishna has the primary name, which is Krishna. He's the all attractive. And there are secondary names based on his qualities, like Janardana, or Madhusudana, he killed the demon Madhu and things like that. Secondary names have their own potencies. However, the primary name is very highly potent. And when we are chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we are chanting Krishna. That's the original, the first name, right, of Krishna. Very highly potent. So again, understanding that Krishna, his position is different from the demigods and everybody. So that's why we cannot consider the name of other demigods same like the name of Krishna or Vishnu. How do we rectify this? The second offense should be rectified by repenting sincerely, taking shelter of Vishnu, and by never committing this offense again. If one remembers Krishna, his name and chanting of his name, this offense will gradually vanish. So so this doesn't mean that we disrespect the demigods, right? We have to be respectful. However, we have to understand the difference between Krishna and other demigods. Then let's go on to the third offense. Does anybody want to say what is the third offense? Anyone wants to say that?
Mataji, I can say this one.
Go ahead.
To disobey the orders of the spiritual master.
Yes, that's a big one. To disobey the orders of the spiritual master. So who's a spiritual master? I think that question comes about, right? What are the characteristics of a spiritual master? The qualified spiritual master is the one who is Goswami, who is the controller of the senses. The principal qualification is that he knows Krishna and he understands the science of Krishna. And he has the capability, Krishna has rewarded him the capability to free others from the cycle of birth and death despite of the qualification. Now that's who a spiritual master is. One who is the Acharya, he follows by example, controls his senses, able to liberate others from the cycle of birth and death. So very important, very powerful position to be a spiritual master. Huh? Then there are three kinds of spiritual master. One, maybe I should just ask, who are the three kinds of spiritual master? Can somebody say that? I think it will be easier. If somebody wants to say, who are the three kinds of spiritual master?
Diksha Guru.
Yeah, and the founder Acharya. So Diksha Guru, Siksha Guru, I think we are very familiar, right? Diksha Guru is the one who gives Diksha, who take the formal initiation. Siksha Guru, anybody that's imparting that knowledge, right? Again, bona fide. It has to be in the bona fide disciplic succession. Siksha Guru. Founder Acharya is the preeminent Siksha Guru for everyone. Example, Srila Prabhupada, right? He is the founder Acharya. So he is the one who has completely started this sampradaya. So we all look up to him. So that's a very important position to be in, the founder Acharya. And no matter Diksha Guru, Siksha Gurus, they all come. But as I said earlier, the founder Acharya is always the preeminent Siksha Guru for all of us. When somebody starts in Krishna consciousness in this movement, we all have to accept Prabhupada as our first Guru. All the books, everything that has been written, everything is coming through him. So we have to always give him that position. So then how and why does this third offense appear? The third offense of disrespecting the spiritual master, right? So what happens is whenever we see the spiritual master with mundane vision and consider him like an ordinary human being, the third offense will appear. See, the spiritual master is visiting us, walking among us, doing kirtan with us, sharing the classes with us. We are doing services for him. So it may feel like, he's just like an ordinary person. But it is so important that we should not do that. We should concentrate on his lecture and spiritual instructions and not on the physical appearance, which seems to be like ours. To equate the Guru with an ordinary human being is wrong because the body of an advanced devotee is different from an ordinary person's body, as it is fully spiritualized due to engagement in devotional service. I was also just looking at the message from His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. He was in the hospital and the devotees were praying. I mean, so many times right now, Maharaj will get admitted. He has had so many medical conditions going on. And then devotees are praying. The devotees are praying. But guess what, right? It is all Krishna's plan. He wants Maharaj to continue with the example that he's leading. Can you imagine Maharaj's body, like his body? Fully spiritual, fully transcendental. Although we see that, okay, he's getting admitted to the hospital, he's taking some medications and this and that and everything. That is all like from our interpretation, we are thinking like that. But actually, all these spiritual masters, they are all transcendental. Their body is not material like all of us. They may be like doing all of these things, it appears like that, but because of them being 100% engaged in spiritual service, their bodies are completely transcendental. So we have to be very careful and not just consider that they are ordinary human beings. So that's the cause of the third offense. So we have to be just very careful with that and really understand their position. How do we rectify this third offense, right? That's the question now that comes, that how do we do that? So whenever we are aware that we are kind of getting complacent, comfortable, I think even right, Srila Prabhupada also, he would change his personal servants in between, because when he saw that the personal servants were getting very comfortable with him, complacent, kind of, that barrier, that respect also, or even that kind of, it impacts actually the relationship. It impacts when you get very comfortable with someone. So that's the reason, again, we have to be careful. So rectification of third offense, how do we do that? We fall at the lotus feet and ask for forgiveness from the spiritual master if we have committed that offense like that. And then the very important key is to follow the instruction of the spiritual master and to not take it lightly. See, there is a two kind of association we get from spiritual master, right? Vapu and Vani. Vapu is the physical association of the spiritual master. When they are around, we are able to physically serve the spiritual master. But more importantly, Vapu is Vani. Anytime if you ask a spiritual master, how can I serve you? They would rather say that rather than serving me physically, sir, take my instructions, because that is the most important thing. Our life should be a reflection of the instructions of the spiritual master. When we surrender to our spiritual master, when we are serious about this path, we receive initiation and we are saying that we are going to follow in this Krishna consciousness path for the rest of the lives. We are taking this vow seriously, right? We cannot be willy-nilly like, okay, one day I took initiation and then next day after that, I'm just doing my own thing, you know. So that is like the biggest, like, what do you say? Like the cheating thing, you know, like you take initiation and you're acting like you're a devotee, but you're completely not following the instructions or things like that. So it is very important that we have to be ready. Internally, the relationship has to be there. The heart has to be there that once I'm receiving this initiation, I am going to strictly follow this path and also follow the instructions of the spiritual master for the rest of my life. So when we do that, you know, that's how it will be. Like, yeah, so Srila Prabhupada wrote in his lecture, the greatest offense is to accept a guru and then to disobey the instructions of the guru. So this was given by Srila Prabhupada, so we have to be very careful about this third offense also. So far devotees have completed up until the third offense, and then tomorrow we'll continue with the rest of the offenses, and then we'll go on to the reason for inattentive chanting also. With that, I think it is 37, Prabhu. Let's just open it up and see if anybody has any questions or any other thought process or anything anyone wants to share for 2 minutes. Then we'll go on to Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you again for attending and being a part of this summary.
Very nice, Mataji. Very nice summary of so far. It's been a step-by-step order. I just realized I'm doing aparadha without my knowledge, particularly when I see the association of Maharaj. Sometimes I see I'm forgetting looking at the physical appearance. Sometimes I'm forgetting. I'm seeing them as humans is not. You mentioned a very good point, because we should not even think about it. They're at a different level. And the knowledge is there. So we should not even completely relating. I think. Thank you for explaining this. I see that right away. I have to correct myself. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. And you know, all of this is, I mean, I can say that even I'm also like that too. We all, I think, have started like that, right? Unless we read, unless we improve knowledge, we won't even understand. So this is very normal, I'm saying. You know, like all of us have done that.